Hey guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. We are here because Monday night is the college football national championship game. It's game day. Pick 'em. All right, guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. I've got John Hammonds on here with me tonight, and we're excited because it is the national championship game for college football. It's the latest it's ever been, John. It's going to be January 20th.
And it's an early game. So, you can get it out of the way real early, and it's a 7:30 kick Eastern time. So,
yeah, earlier than it has been. All right, guys, College SportsCast, you can help support us now by sending stars, or you can subscribe to our page, our College SportsCast page. It's only 99 cents a month. I am currently active on a chat for just the subscribers, and there's also a subscribers page that we post
Jonathan?
things on. So it's only 99 cents a month. And we appreciate you guys. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate you as well. Jonathan Johnson, what's up? Appreciate you being with us here.
That's my buddy from Pulaski County.
At the beginning of the show here, we appreciate that. So if you are interested in the championship game, which I'm sure most of you are, I do have a championship game article, and it's a preview article. Just you can check it out. It is on the Ohio State and Notre Dame game for Monday night. It is on stadiumrant.com. You can go to College Sports and find it. Do want to start out with that, with the show, and we appreciate Stadium Rant being a part of us and us being a part of them, and we appreciate that. So just want to throw that out there before we get started.
At the end of the show, we have a little special thing that we want to talk about. I wrote an article about it today. I don't want to bring it up, but me and Brad's going to talk about something at the end of the show. So,
yeah, I actually got a couple of things that I want to mention towards kind of the end, but we're going to get started with the national championship game. So it's Monday night, John. And it is January the 20th. Like you said, it's a 7:30 Eastern time kickoff. And let me fix something real quick because that is not right. My typing skills is not 100% correct all the time. So give me just a second. I saw that once it popped up. That looks better. Okay. All right. I had to change something real quick there. All right. So it's the national championship game. Ohio State is a 8.5-point favorite according to DraftKings over Notre Dame. I have seen it as high as 9.5 on certain things this week. But DraftKings this evening had it at 8.5, John.
Yeah. I've been really impressed with Notre Dame, Brad. Understandably, they're underdog in this game. Ohio State's defense has been really, really good through this run. The offense has been more impressive, I think. If Notre Dame's defense can step up, I think they can make things interesting. Just don't think they have, for me, Brad, I just don't think they have enough weapons to keep up in this game. Notre Dame's only defeat this year came to Northern Illinois. Now, Ohio State did lose to Michigan. And I think Ohio State's just really stacked on both sides of the ball.
And Oregon in the regular season.
Yeah, and I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage. I think they're going to control the pace of this game. They did roll Oregon and Texas. Notre Dame's offense, to me, still remains one-dimensional, and I don't think that's a good thing when you're playing a team like Ohio State. I think you're going to have more things break your way in order to win this game.
I mean, Greathouse did have a few nice catches in their last game. Ironically, John, both of these teams have played 3 college football playoff games already.
Yeah.
They had to come through from the first round to the quarterfinals to the semifinals, and so each team has played 3 games. Notre Dame has held opponents to what, under 20? I mean, every game they've won's been they held.
Well, and I say this too, Brad. You got Jeremiah Love's knee injury. We don't know if he's going to be 100%. Jadarian Rice has pretty much been a no-show in this playoff. He has not played up to par. I don't think Notre Dame's not going to be able to beat Ohio State Berkeley. And their best runner is their quarterback.
Yeah.
They're going to have some extra help in the run game if they want to win this football game.
Well, Notre Dame, honestly, John, they've been really good at creating turnovers. They're one of the best teams in the country at creating turnovers. They have capitalized on creating turnovers, points off of turnovers. They've been really good on special teams as well. Mm-hmm. And those are some areas that a lot of people don't count. But if they can get a turnover and turn it into points and get a good special teams play, it's going to help them stay in this game if they could get that.
I'm just going to say something real quick before we get on to our picks. Marcus Freeman has done an exceptional job at Notre Dame. There was a lot of talk before he got hired where they was going to go. And I always flip back to that video of him in the locker room with the team. They embraced that coach. He was already on the coaching staff. They put it out there that they wanted him as the main guy. And what a job he's done. Unbelievable job.
3rd year.
I just don't think it's going to be enough Monday night. And I think I'm going to pick Ohio State to win this game. Now, I will say that I think that Notre Dame will keep this game tight until halftime. But I think Ohio State just pulls away in the second half and they win this game. I just think they got
you some numbers. Let me give you some numbers on talent. Ohio State has 14 5-stars, and Notre Dame only has 2 on the roster. Now, past the 5-stars, Notre Dame has 57 4-stars, and Ohio State has 50. 3-stars. Notre Dame's got a ton more 3-stars. Ohio State's only got 11. Here's a stat that I thought was pretty interesting. Ohio State has 37 walk-ons. Unranked walk-ons. Unranked. I'm sorry. Not walk-ons. Unranked. They have 37 players on that team that was unranked. That was a stat that surprises me because everybody sees their top, 50, 60 players and how much talent they have. But there's 37 players, which is more than Notre Dame has, that was unranked coming out of high school. Notre Dame has 32. They have 37. I mean, Notre Dame's got more 4-stars.
I'll say this real quick.
It's really the 5-stars that's where they have a lot more talent.
I'll say this on that. I always say that you got to have some stars in some of these games to win. But in a one-off where, momentum, energy, one play here or there, it gets thrown out the window, I think, in a game like this. Because stars mean a lot. We can have this discussion another night on our topics, big fuss. But I think in a one-game situation, I think you can throw a lot of that stuff out the window because it's all about who shows up and who puts in the effort to win this game. And like I said, I think Notre Dame stays tight in this game till halftime. I just think that after halftime, you'll see that quality of play talent take over. But, like I said, one game off to begin a game, you might see a little bit of momentum on Notre Dame's side.
All right, let's run down a few areas in this game. I know you've already said your pick. I'm going to say mine here at the end. But let's run down just a few things in this game. Quarterback, Will Howard or Riley Leonard? Who's got the better? You think it's Will Howard?
Mm-hmm. I just think he's a better overall quarterback now. I think Riley Leonard is good.
I really do.
I think he's done some really good things, but he's not going to be able to do the things he's done against Georgia and Penn State that he's done. That he's going to be able to do to Ohio State. It's just not. It's a totally different group that he's going up against.
Secondary. Let's talk about the secondary. Notre Dame or Ohio State? Who you give the edge to? Secondary.
That's a good question. I think it could be even. Notre Dame secondary is pretty good.
They are.
But I say when I say that though, you got guys like Jeremiah Smith, Amika, you got Carnell Tate. Then you got to worry about
room is definitely Ohio State. It's not even close.
Yeah, I'm pretty much picking them to win that edge.
Running back as well.
Ohio State running back Junkins and Henderson.
I mean, I think Love is a good one, and you put Riley with them if he's healthy. I mean, Love. I mean,
my biggest issue though, Brad. My biggest issue though is Price. Like, where have you been during this whole playoff run? Like, he was supposed to step up in this thing, and he's just not been been one of the guys to step up in this playoff.
I think a guy like Greathouse, if Notre Dame is going to hang tight and have a chance to win this game, I think a guy like Greathouse has really got to have a couple of like 2 or 3 standout plays.
He does. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. All right, guys. So if you have not checked out my article, I did give a prediction on this game in my article, and I even gave a score. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell that now. All right.
I'm not comparing these two teams, okay? I'm just saying there's some similarities. Michigan had a great defense, okay? Their offense wasn't great. Notre Dame has some of the similar qualities defensively that Michigan does up front and in the secondary. Now, their offense it's probably a little bit better than Michigan's. But similarity-wise, I think defense, I think they're the same. I wouldn't say they're the same, but they're right on that edge of similarity that they could do the same thing Michigan did with the right formula. Notre Dame's playing with house money, Brad.
Have you noticed tonight that it's showing up the profile picture and everything?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I just now noticed that.
Yeah,
maybe we're going big time, Brad.
It's actually like it's looking pretty good actually down there.
Maybe we are getting big time here, Brad.
I just thought I'd mention it because I was like, wow, that's pretty neat.
That's
I
pretty
like
neat.
it.
Yep.
All right, so my prediction in this game, in my article, check it out, stadiumrant.com for my preview article. But I predicted Ohio State to win, and I predicted the score to be 31-20. That was my prediction.
Mine's about the same, 35-20. I just think Ohio State's just got too much talent. I think they win this game.
Josh said, "Ha ha! I know I look good."
Lord have mercy. Help him, Jesus.
It does look pretty good down there tonight, though. I like that.
It does. I noticed that right out of the gate.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to college basketball. The first game of the day again, what is going to be Kentucky, Alabama, who is coming off of a loss, number 4 Alabama, coming off of a home loss to Ole Miss and coming on the road to Rupp. They are the number 1 scoring team in the country, over 91 points a game, and they're coming to Rupp. Kentucky is a 2.5-point favorite, John, in this game.
Yeah, I mean,
at
if
home.
you like offense, this is going to be the game for you.
Kentucky's number 3, Alabama's number 1.
Alabama's coming off a loss to Ole Miss. Kentucky's coming off a win over Texas A&M. This is going to be a fun game, Brad. It's going to be fast-paced. Alabama, they're 3rd in the country in offensive rebounding. Actually, rebound as a whole. Tide play fast. Wildcats do too. I think the rebound is going to have to be big in this game for Kentucky. I think they're going to have to play like they did against A&M the other night. They're going to have to play big because Alabama's got a stable of really good guards. DeLon, Sears, Youngblood. Then you got to look over and you got Grant Nelson. This is just going to be a fun game. Now, I will say a key stat in this game, Alabama likes to get to the free throw line if they don't have their shot spot. Alabama's not the physical type. Now, their defense is a little bit better this year. But there's one thing missing this year, Brad, that I've noticed about Alabama. They're not shooting the ball from 3 as good as they did a year ago. That's another key cog. They've not shot the ball well from deep like they did a year ago. But I'm going to pick the Cats. I'm going to pick them to cover. I think they win this game, and I think they pick up their 6th top 15 win of the year. And at the end of the day, who has a better resume in college basketball if that happens?
It's a good question. I mean, Auburn probably does. They're 9-1 in quad 1 games now.
Besides Auburn, yes.
Before these games, they're 9-1 in quad 1 games. Auburn is, but this is going to be an absolute monster of a game. We embarrassed them last year. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was at Alabama as well. And we went in there and embarrassed them last year. And I think at one time we were up nearly 30. I think we won by 22, John.
Yeah, it was at Rupp.
Was it at Rupp?
Yeah, you said Alabama. It was at Rupp.
It was at Rupp. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. But we absolutely embarrassed them at Rupp last year. And I got a feeling these guys are going to remember that. I mean, Grant Nelson was there. Sears was there. I think these guys are going to remember that. I think they're going to come in with a little extra motivation coming in with this on top of losing Tuesday night, losing their last game.
And a key thing here, Jay Billis and Dan Schuman's there, so we'll get to talk about ice cream tomorrow too.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to talk about some ice cream tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah,
100%. That's for sure.
Jay Billis is the ice cream guy. They always bring him ice cream.
Grant Nelson has been playing tons better this year than he did last year in year two under Nate Oates at Alabama. I really like that kid, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah,
and Sears is a good kid too, I believe. Be honest with you.
They're both really good. They're both really good. Young blood's really good too.
Having said all that, John, Jackson Robinson's going to have to continue his run, and Kobe Brett's got to find his game again, because the last couple of games, there for a few games he was really playing well. The last couple of games he really hasn't been able to find his shot the way he normally plays.
Oh, update. I got an update. Just before we came on, Lamont Butler is questionable tomorrow.
That doesn't surprise me. He took an absolutely beating the other night in that game.
He was in a UFC ring Tuesday night.
He took a beating. Now, having said all of that, this game is at Rupp. We play Alabama twice this year. We have to go to their house as well.
I look for a split, Brad.
I think we'll split. And with having said that, I think Kentucky will find a way to win this at home. I think Mark Pope and his Magic at home, they're still undefeated this season, 10-0 or 11-0. I can't remember if it's 10 or 11 now.
Somewhere around there.
Yep. They're undefeated still at Rupp, and I'm going to pick the Cats to win, and I'm going to say it's kind of high. I see we got some scores here, 87-83, 84-80. I'm going to say that it's 96-93.
And I'll say, on top of what Jonathan said, Ole Miss turned Alabama over quite a bit. If you can turn this Alabama team over a little bit and you can get out and transition and hit some shots, you got a chance to really make some things happen tomorrow.
All right, John, we are going to move on to Creighton at UConn. I got these off of DraftKings this evening. UConn is a 7.5-point favorite at home. Creighton's got some really good players and have had some good wins this year, but they have struggled on the road.
They have. They're very vulnerable on the road. I think, and their defense has been kind of questionable at times. I think UConn is going to score at will in this game. I think they'll control the glass. I think they'll win the turnover battle. Creighton's a different team home and away. Creighton plays like the Showtime Lakers at home. They look like a totally different team away. Isaacs is still out. I think I'm going to take the Huskies to cover the spread in this game. I do like this Creighton team. I just think their road woes are very poor.
And UConn's really not a place you want to correct your road woes.
No, not at all.
I mean, you want to do that someplace else, Villanova or
especially a UConn team that's especially a UConn team that's improving as the season goes.
Right. Rick Wells. I'll take the Cats.
Joshua, he said talk about the referees. We talked about that the other night. You missed.
We did Wednesday night. We had a segment or two on that.
Yeah, we talked
about the refs and just how awful the game management and refs and everything are. So I'm going to be with you on here, John. I'm going to take UConn at home. And I really do like this Creighton team and think that they could make some noise in the tournament. They just got to put something together.
Their home and away splits are incredible.
They are.
I just leave it at that.
They are.
It's mind-boggling.
Sure.
It's mind-boggling.
All right, John. Auburn is a 6.5-point favorite at Georgia. And as far as I know, Janai Broome is still out.
Yeah, and even without Janai Broome, they trounced Mississippi State. You know,
But that was at home, and this is on the road.
They have the top scoring margin in the country, Brad. The top shooting offense in the conference. They are number one in offensive efficiency. The Tigers have a veteran backcourt. They got plenty of depth. Brad, this is the best team.
The guard play this year as they did last year, Josh.
They don't.
Great.
And I think, this might be Bruce Pearl's best team he's had since he was at Tennessee. It might be better than that Tennessee team
that he
had that went to the Elite Eight.
It might be.
Georgia can match, or Auburn can match Georgia on the glass. I think they'll have a huge edge offensively. Georgia's going to make this game ugly. I think they'll wear down Georgia, and I think they'll win this game going away in the second half. Now, I will say –
Joe Surreal has got to have a massive game and stay out of foul trouble.
I will say that I think Georgia will keep this game tight for a while. Being on the road.
On the inside. I'm just saying.
So
because I think he is by far the best player on the inside. And I'm being dead serious. He's a good player.
Does Georgia shoot 70 free throws tomorrow? The over and under?
Lord have mercy. Let's hope it's not like our game.
I had to bring that up. I was just giving you
yeah, let's hope it's not like our game.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty
sure.
Pretty rough.
Gosh, 6.5 seems high on the road, but they have been playing so well without Broome. It makes me want to take this Georgia spread here. They lost the other night. They did lose their last game out, right?
I'll give you this, Brad. Mike White has done a really good job with Georgia, and I think he's going to have them prepared tomorrow. I think Auburn's going to get a fight for the first 20 minutes. Georgia's not going to lay down in this game. They're going to bring the fight to Auburn, and Auburn's going to have to play and really make plays to win this game, I think. But I think they take care of business in the second half and they win this game.
I think this game's going to be a whole lot closer than what people think. I think Auburn wins. But I'm going to say it's going to be higher than the 6.5, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. All right, we're going to take a Big Ten game here for tomorrow. We got Purdue at Oregon. These are two ranked teams here. Oregon is a 2.5-point favorite at home in Eugene. What do you think on this one?
Man, these two teams are kind of up and down at times. I really like Purdue. I really like
Braden Smith has played pretty good this year, I believe.
I think he's playing really, really well. Oregon's got a really, really good guard in Jackson Shelstad. Both of these teams have really been flying under the radar all year. Purdue's won their last 6 games, I think.
They've been playing well. I think they're
in Big Ten play since they lost the opener to Penn State. This guard matchup is going to be one to watch. This might be one of my underrated games of the day to watch. But I'm going to give the edge to the home team. Purdue sometimes struggles on the road at times. They're sort of like Marquette, Creighton in terms because they're really good at home at Mackey Arena.
Yep.
The home splits and the away splits on some of these teams are crucial when it comes to wins and losses. But I think I'm going to go with Oregon in this game. I think they win this game. I think they cover the 2.5. I think they win. I think they win this game.
I think I'm gonna be different with you on this one. I really like the way this Purdue team is playing. Oregon, has kind of been up and down the last couple of weeks. I feel like, they lost to Illinois, which Illinois is a good team. I'm not going to say they're not, but wasn't that game at home?
Yeah, and Illinois just got beat pretty handily by was it Oregon?
No, Illinois beat Oregon.
No, they lost on the road. Yeah, that's right. They won. Who was it Illinois lost to just recently? There was a team Illinois lost to, I think.
Yeah, I forgot. Was it Michigan State? I don't know.
No,
they played Michigan State.
USC last weekend.
Yeah.
They lost at home to USC.
Yeah, but they were without a player.
They was Kasparis.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure when he'll be back. So
yeah.
But they did beat Oregon on the road.
Yeah.
But Oregon is a tough environment to play in.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and take Purdue in this one, and take the 2.5 points. Now, John, this game and the spread kind of surprised me. It's at Mississippi State. It's in Starkville. But Ole Miss is coming off of a very impressive win, holding Alabama to 64 points at home. And they are on the road at Mississippi State. But 5.5 seems like a pretty large spread to me in this game.
Mississippi State's good at home. I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, Ole Miss is coming off a big win over Alabama. You're probably looking for a letdown game here. Mississippi State is 7-1 at home. Their only loss was against Kentucky last weekend, which Kentucky had to really fight to win that game. I think in a matchup like this, a rivalry, I think you're going to see a lot of things happen in this game. There's going to be a lot of tension, a lot of energy involved in this game. And I think Mississippi State's not going to let a blowout loss at Auburn creep into 2 losses. And I think they're going to feed off the home crowd, and I think they end up winning this game. But I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover this spread because I'm like you. I think this is a little high, to be honest. But I like Mississippi State at home.
Chris Beard, let's say we were talking about some coaches. Chris Beard is doing a fantastic job.
Unbelievable job.
This is just year 2.
They really got a good defense. Their offense is coming along. Shout out Jason Harrison. I know our one of our hosts. I know he's excited about this team. We talked about that the other night. He played for Ole Miss back in the early 2000s. Great team, fun team. They're looking
They played some hella defense the other night.
Listen, Brad.
Alabama.
Ole Miss. I was reading today. Ole Miss is playing for a top 4 seed, like a top 3.
Yeah.
In a tough SEC conference that's probably one of the toughest in the league this year.
I think I'm going to go with you here and take Ole Miss in the 5.5 points. I don't know who wins the game, but I think that as far as a betting person, I think the real safe bet in this is Ole Miss in the 5.5 points.
But Brad, I'm going to tell you, you look at last weekend when Mississippi State played Kentucky, that crowd was energetic. That was probably one of the toughest environments that we've had to face all year long.
If they can play defense like they played at Alabama, they're going to be in this game.
Yeah, they'll definitely be in it with their defense. Their defense is really, really good.
All right. Now, I've got 4 games here that DraftKings did not have spreads on. So I do not have spreads on these games. So we're going to pick these straight up. But I've got Houston at Central Florida at UCF.
Mm-hmm.
It's a road game. UCF, I think, is 12-4.
Man, the thing about UCF, Brad, I've noticed a lot this year is they've been really, really up and down. They had a couple good wins early in the year. Then they got blown out by Kansas at home. And I'm going to tell you something, Brad. Defense travels, and this Houston team is really, really good defensively. And UFC's defense is not real good. They've allowed 80 points in 4 of their 5 Big 12 games. Houston's probably going to hit a lot of shots. They're going to be on the glass. I think they win this game straight up. I'm really impressed with this Houston team. Now, I know people's going to say, well, they lost a couple of games early in the year. Well, a lot of teams have. A lot of teams have went through kind of bumps and bruises, especially UConn.
Yep.
Tennessee lost a game at Florida, got blown out at Florida. Like there's going to be games where you struggle and have bad games. But if I remember correctly, isn't Houston top 10 in the Kim Palm in defense?
They are.
I believe they're top 2, top 3. And I
Yeah.
always say when you get in the tournament, defense travels. You can have the best offense in the world, but a good defense is going to shut you down.
Yep.
And I think when this game's over with, I think Houston wins this game with their defense.
I'm with you. I think this Houston team is one of the, top 10 teams in the country. I really do think that. I think they're going to go in and win this game. So, looking straight up, I think I'm taking Houston. The next one is Xavier at Marquette. Xavier's had some ups and downs this year, not quite as good as what they normally have been the last couple of years. Marquette,
they've been impressive.
One of the better teams in the country.
Xavier has really good three-point shooting. They get to the free throw line pretty good. I think this is going to help them keep this game pretty tight because a lot of these Big East games are always tight, Brad. We've every time we turn the game on, they're always pretty close. I think I'm going to pick Xavier to cover. Well, not cover because there ain't no line on this game, but I think Xavier will stay around this game.
There wasn't one on DraftKings. You might be able to find one somewhere else. But
now, I love this Marquette team. Cam Jones, for me, is my player of the year. I think he's outstanding. He can get to the rim. He can shoot threes. He can do it all for Marquette.
What?
I think
it's not Cooper Flagg?
It's not. Now, I will say I love Cooper Flagg, but I really love Cam Jones. I think he's a really good basketball player.
Hey,
but I
like Janai Broome, but
I think Marquette wins this game.
He's injured right now, and I don't know how long he's going to be out.
They're tough to beat at home. Marquette is. They really are.
Yeah, I'm going Marquette. Xavier's like 11-7 or something like that.
Something to that effect. Yeah,
somewhere around there this year. Marquette's like 16-2 or something like that.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah,
they're one of my teams to make a run to the Final Four. They're really good defensively. I can't think of the guy's name. Is it Stevie?
They got really good guard play.
They do. I can't remember the Marquette player's name. Stevie something. He's one of their really good defensive guys. Stevie Mitchell. Stevie Mitchell's his name. They got a really good defense that creates havoc. And I think Shaka Smart has done a really good job the whole time he's been at Marquette.
I agree. I'm taking Marquette as well. The next one we're going to talk about is in the SEC. It is tomorrow evening. Tennessee is at Vandy. Vandy sometimes, especially in Memorial Gymnasium,
weird stuff happens in there.
Can surprise some teams, and they usually play pretty good against Tennessee and Vandy. I mean, Tennessee and Kentucky both in Memorial Gymnasium. Just to be honest, do you think? Vandy's got a pretty good record. They're like 14-3 or 14-4 or something like that.
Yeah, but Brad, they've really benefited from a pretty easy schedule too. I think their schedule was 220th in strength of schedule. And they've dropped 2 of their last 4 SEC games. Now, saying that.
But they also won 2 out of 4, which, I mean, they're 2-2.
Saying that to say this, there's always some weird stuff that happens at Memorial Gymnasium.
It's a weird place
to
play.
It's a weird
place to watch a game. It's a weird place to sit. It's a weird place to be on the bench. The court is elevated. I don't know if everybody knows. Not only is it on the sideline, the benches are on the ends and all that, but the court is actually elevated as well.
Yep. Now, to say this for my pick, I'm going Tennessee here. Their defense is really, really good. They're led by Zakai Ziegler, probably one of the best guards in the country. I mean, here's a stat I'm going to read to you, Brad. They are only giving up 88.2 points per 100 possessions. That's 4th in Division I in adjusted defensive efficiency. And Tennessee wins with defense. We talk about Houston. Tennessee's on that other level too. So the only problem I have with Tennessee going forward is I always say it before we get to tournament time is the Rick Barnes effect. Can he win a big one in March? Now, they did get to the Elite Eight last year. Their offense sometimes goes in laws where they don't shoot that well. Will this be one of those games? Who knows?
What do you think about not only his benching, but his comment and stuff after the game about the reason why he benched Chaz Lanier?
I mean, it's the new age of the NIL. You don't produce, you're not going to play.
Well, it's not just produce. I mean, he literally drew up a play for this guy who's supposed to be a shooter. The play worked perfectly. He was wide open, and he didn't shoot.
Yeah, I mean, you don't do that, you're not going to play for Rick Barnes.
What in the hell? I don't understand.
Rick Barnes, for me, Rick Barnes is old school. He's another, I think, Tubby Smith type. Those guys, he's very old school.
And Rick Barnes said he asked him after the game why he didn't shoot it, and he was just like, well, I just wasn't feeling it or something. And he's like, in that case, you can just sit over here with me. We're paying you to, he literally told him, we're paying you to shoot that ball.
Yeah.
To be a shooter.
I got Tennessee, Brad. I think Tennessee wins this game. Now, I do think Vanderbilt will keep it kind of contested early just for the mere fact that this game's being played at Vanderbilt because, like I said, a lot of weird stuff happens in that place.
It is. I just wanted to ask you because I know everybody's kind of got hung up on the paid issue. I didn't get hung up on that. What I got hung up on is that there was a play designed and ran and worked beautifully, and the dude was open, and he just acted like, I wasn't feeling it. What?
It's a different generation, brother, when it comes to –
I don't get it, man.
NIL, all this stuff, like it's a whole different thing than when we was watching growing up.
But when you were playing ball, if they would have ran a play, designed, worked beautifully, you're open, what are you going to do with the ball?
Guess you got to shoot it.
I mean, maybe you shoot the ball, Chaz. That's all I'm saying. I don't get it.
Guess you got to shoot it, I guess.
I'm going Tennessee in this game, but I had to bring that up while we're talking about it because I kind of blew my mind. He's like, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't going to shoot it. All right, last men's game we're going to talk about. This is on Sunday. This is a top 20 matchup here on two teams that have been playing really well. I think that Illinois is going to be back at full. I think the guy's going to be back. I believe I saw him that he come back to practice. So I'm thinking he'll be back. This is at Michigan State. Izzo is got these guys back playing. I think he's like 15-2 or 16-2 or something with this team. They are looking good.
They have, I've been really impressed with Jace
Thank you,
Richardson,
man.
the freshman for Michigan State. He's come on the scene, and a lot of people don't know his dad was Jason Richardson that played in the NBA.
Richardson, yeah.
Yes. He's come off the bench, played really,
One
really
of the
well.
best that played for Izzo.
He's the second leading scorer. He's been a leader for this team. But let's talk about fears a minute. Guy comes in, he gets shot last year? He got shot, was it the leg, hip, something?
Yeah.
Comes back this year and is playing unbelievable for Michigan State. What a comeback story for Michigan State and that player. And how about just give Tom Izzo credit?
Absolutely.
Not many people thought that he was going to have this great of it. Now, I thought they'd be good, but I did not think that they would be this good in leading the Big Ten. Unbelievable season so far. Now, on the other side, you got Illinois playing. They played really, really well this year. Kasparis is really, really good for Illinois. He's the one.
He's the one that he come back to practice. I think he's going to be playing.
Yeah, and who knows what's going to happen on that end of the deal. He'll probably play Sunday. Sunday presents a big road test for Illinois. But Izzo ain't having it. Izzo said the other day that they're still improving. Izzo was not giving his team much credit whatsoever.
Here's what's good to see for me. A lot of these older hand coaches are struggling. A lot of them are having some issues. We've even seen some step away from the game. Retire before the season starts. Step away in the middle of the season. Look at Miami. We have seen a lot of these older hands kind of lose their touch in this day and age with NIL, transfer portal.
I kind of wanted to bring up a comment. I found this that Izzo said. He said he was talking about his team's toughness and going into the Illinois game. He said, right now, from the last two times I've watched Illinois, we've got the Celtics or the Lakers coming in here. And I thought that was pretty good. So he said, we've got a lot of work to do in 3 to 4 days. So I thought that was pretty funny. And Jaden Atkins is having a really good year too. This is a really good Michigan State team. And I think the Spartans win this game at home. I think they're really good at home, and I think they take care of business Sunday.
I'm going to be with you here, man. I've always kind of been a Michigan State fan. I know that a lot of people are going to be surprised probably to hear that, but I'm a Magic Johnson fan all my life. I do not remember the 79 game, but I do remember the Lakers being in the finals in 1980. That's some of my first memories as a basketball fan. And I fell in love with Magic Johnson. And as time went on, as I fell in love with Magic Johnson, he is from Michigan, from East Lansing, stayed at home, played at Michigan State. And if I had to pick a second team, pretty much all my life, I would tell you that it's Michigan State. With that said, it's good to see Izzo is not one of these guys that couldn't figure this out, couldn't figure out the new players and the new game and the things that's going on, and not backsliding like some of these other coaches that's going on. I won't even say one of them's name, but the truth is that it's going on. You got coaches that are leaving the game. Look at Tony Bennett. Look at,
Jim Larinaga.
Yeah, you got Villanova's coach a few years ago that walked away, Jay
Wright.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these coaches, look at Bill Self. Look what's going on at Kansas. I mean, look at Bill Self and look what's going on.
But to be fair, I will say on that end, though, Brad, to be fair, Iowa State's a really good basketball team.
They are, but it's not one game. I mean, Kansas was preseason #1 with
I get
four
you, but
of their players back, and they really aren't playing well.
They aren't, but winning on the road at Iowa State with a Iowa State team that's probably in the contention for a national championship, I mean, it's hard to win on the road too. I mean,
I'm just saying, I'm throwing out some names. I'm going to take Tom Izzo and Michigan State here in this one. All right, we are going to move on. I've got 3 women's basketball games for us to talk about, and then bonus, we might throw in Kentucky and Georgia at the end, just to talk about them for a few minutes and make a pick. But Indiana has surprised a little bit and played pretty well. Beat Iowa. About a week ago or so, USC is coming to town.
Brad, there's not 2 better elite coaches in this matchup than Gottlieb and Terry Morin. You're going up against 2 elite coaches in this game. This is going to be a fun game. Now, I will say Indiana had an early loss to Butler.
They did.
That impacted their ranking. I think it was their net. It was a quad 3 loss, but they have improved since then.
They've been playing really well.
This will be a big opportunity for Indiana with
Indiana women. If you check out what they lost off of last year's team, they lost a ton, and nobody really thought that this Indiana team was going to be all that great, to be honest. But their coach is just a stellar coach and is already turning them around way before most people thought.
Yeah, she's doing a really good job. She's a really, really good elite coach. I like this Indiana team. I think they'll be in the hunt for a tournament bid, albeit with that loss that they had against Butler, which is not going to look good on the resume, but they can make it up with wins like this coming up.
Like this, yeah, absolutely.
Like this,
you get a win like this.
But I'm going to say this: I'm still going to pick USC. I love Juju Watkins. I think
Juju and Kiki.
Kiki's really good too.
You got to say it's Juju and Kiki.
Kiki. I'm going to go with USC in this game. I think they win this game, but it's going to be a tough game for them. This is Assembly Hall is a tough place to play on the road against a really good elite coach.
Yeah, I mean, Juju has really kind of come on lately. Kiki's transferred from Stanford, was a standout there for the last 2 or 3 years. And she's been playing lights out down low for the Trojans. I mean, listen, this USC Trojan team is built to make a Final Four. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're good.
I mean,
now I will say that they're probably going to have to go through UCLA in that conference.
They are.
UCLA is probably the best
number
team
1 right now and still undefeated.
But I think they'll be there when it matters at the end. USA.
But this team is built to challenge for a Final Four run. I'm not sure Indiana is, but Indiana, in a one-game situation here at Assembly Hall, first time probably USC's been there. I can't imagine USC has played in Assembly Hall in the women's game. I'd have to look that up. But first road trip, more than likely, it's a tough place to play. They've never been there. They don't know what it's like. And I'm sure the crowd's going to be pretty rowdy with number 14 coming coming to their house. Having said all that, I am going to take USC in this game, but like you said, if Indiana could get this win, it would really help their resume.
Be huge.
All right. Also on Sunday, we've got Oklahoma at South Carolina.
Reagan Beers comes to team.
And Oklahoma had a girl last night that scored 38, a guard that scored 38.
Is it Peyton Verhust?
Verhust. Yes. Peyton. Yeah.
Peyton Verhust.
Yeah, she had 38 points last night.
Is it Verhust or Verhulst or something? I can't pronounce it, but she had 38 points against Missouri.
Yeah.
She's shooting, I think, 33% from three. She's a really good basketball player now. All the attention's probably going to go on Reagan Beers.
Yeah.
She's one of the best front court players in the country. She's shooting 68% from the field.
And I watched South Carolina at Alabama last night. And I'm going to be honest with you. For 3.5 quarters, Alabama cut this to a 4-point game with about 6 minutes to go. And
I'm going to tell you why.
And then Joyce Edwards kind of took over.
I'm going to tell you why South Carolina wins this game. And Brad, I don't know if you've watched much Oklahoma basketball, but they don't take care of the ball really good. They have a hard time. They turn it over quite a bit. I think they're averaging 19 turnovers per game. That's not going to be good against the South Carolina team. I can tell you.
I agree with that one.
You turn the ball over on South Carolina, you're going to get eaten alive.
Listen, last Sunday, Texas went to South Carolina and was down 20 points most of the game, got beat 17.
Yeah,
Oklahoma is going to South Carolina this week. Do they look better than Texas? And Texas has got one of the better teams.
Man, it's tough to beat Don Staley. Don Staley's a legend.
Yeah.
Playing them on the road is not an easy.
How about 51 straight home SEC games? I think that's what it is.
Tough. And South Carolina is really, really good. Now that's not to say Oklahoma's not going to be great. They're just playing in a loaded SEC league. And games like this are going to happen. You see it on the men's side too. Oklahoma has had a rude welcome on the men's side as well in SEC play. But I can't go against the legend, man. Dawn Staley. I just think she knows how to prepare her teams for big games. And I think they win this game on Sunday. I think they take care of business here.
I got to give another shout out here and give a mention, not really a shout out, but a mention here. Dawn Staley agreed to a contract extension today that keeps her in Columbia, South Carolina through the 2030 season. And it was it's the highest contract ever. It's $25 million extension that keeps her there through 2030. And it's well-deserved, guys. I mean, she's probably the best coach in the country. I know that Gino is still at UConn, but if you look at what she's done over the last 6 to 7 years compared to what Gino's done the last 6 or 7 years, I think Dawn is the better coach right now. Gino is the more legendary coach. I get that. I'm not going to say he's not. He is.
He is.
But
it's tough to go against Dawn Staley when you gotta prepare for a monster game. And she knows how to get her girls to play basketball. And
absolutely, Joyce Edwards had 11 points in the fourth quarter last night. Really coming on. She's a freshman. Scored her most points of the season so far, 21, and 11 rebounds last night. She's 6'3". She is trying to step up into that. I've been talking about this South Carolina team being a little undersized and not having that post presence. all season long. John will tell you, I've been talking about it. Joyce Edwards is coming along as a freshman to kind of help
really
ease that. Yep. Fegan has been playing well too since Ashlyn Watkins went down. So give me South Carolina at home. I cannot go against South Carolina at home.
I'm going to tell you, this next game you're getting ready to talk about, these two are very similar in styles.
They are. This is a very interesting game here. And Vandy has 3 really, really good players.
Yep, they do.
They do.
Michaela Blakes and Camille Pierre, they're really good. Both of them I think average 20.
And you got to put more in there too.
Now Tennessee has a really good one too, in Talasia Cooper. Cooper's tough.
Spencer.
Tennessee, for me though, Tennessee, I think Brad has more scoring options here. I think all 5 starters average double figures. Only thing I worry about with Tennessee is their defense at times, and sometimes their ball pressure. Sometimes,
Tennessee. If you watch them much, they sometimes have some lapses.
Very much so. That's what I was trying to get to. They have lapses in certain games. Now, I will say Tennessee has a lot of depth. I think they can wear down this Vanderbilt team. And to mention Kim Caldwell, she's having a really great year as first-year coach at Tennessee, and she's expecting her first child possibly any day.
Speaking of that, I mean, it could happen at any time. She may not be at these games for all we know. She may be having a baby.
They don't really know what's going to happen if she misses any, if she has her baby on Sunday. We don't know. So so
that's a true story. That's how pregnant she is.
Yeah. I think Vanderbilt wins this game. And I say that because I think they're going to play more desperate, Brad, because they've lost 3 games in a row. And I think they're going to be playing really, really hard and desperate.
And this is going to be an important game. If they are going to make a push for the NCAA tournament, this is an important game for Vandy.
It is for them, I don't think it's going to hurt Tennessee with a loss, but Tennessee's lost some quirky. They've had some quirky games where they've had opportunities to put teams away, and they let them come back and get in the game. They've had some weird stuff happen this year, but I still think this is a really good Tennessee team.
Oh, it is. I like both of these teams, to be quite honest with you. I've watched all of these teams.
They're both good.
That we've talked about here. Matter of fact, I watched Tennessee some last night against Mississippi State last night. And, of course, I've seen Vandy in person. So, I mean, Michaela Blakes is a special talent. Camille Pierre is fantastic. When she gets going, she can fill it up. For Vandy, I mean, Tennessee, Jewel Spear can absolutely shoot from anywhere on the court.
She can.
You can't blink and leave her open for a second. She can fill it up. Spencer Cooper. I mean, they've got some.
They got some players on there.
They do. I like both of these teams, to be quite honest with you. I think Vandy should be the more desperate team here, especially at home. So I'm going to take the Commodores. I'm going to take Vandy to win this one at home. And then, John, real quick, Kentucky plays Georgia on the road tomorrow. Georgia is like a 9-10 team.
You mean Sunday.
I mean Sunday.
You said tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean Sunday.
Yeah.
Kentucky travels to Georgia to take on the Lady Bulldogs. And let's be honest, I think it's a game Kentucky should handle pretty well.
I do. Georgia more Amore is playing at a elite. When I say elite, I mean elite level right now. She's playing about as good as anybody in the
Steffi
country.
Sorensen last night on SEC Now. I don't know if you guys have watched it on Thursday nights because they're talking mainly about women's basketball on Thursday nights. But the new 3-on-3 league Unravel started today. And because of that, they had a draft last night of SEC players, and Steffi Sorensen got to pick first. She drew the number one pick. And guess who she picked out of the SEC?
Georgia Amore.
Out of all the players, Steffi Sorensen selected Georgia Amore with the number one pick.
Yep.
The point guard, Georgia Amore. Out of the SEC players.
She's really, really good. Hassett has played good. Clara Strack's played good. Key has played a really big role.
She has.
Deja Lawrence has played a big role.
Deja's been shooting lights out since SEC.
They should dominate this Georgia team. Now, I will say Georgia's got a few girls on this team that it's really, really good. Trinity Turner's really, really good for Georgia. Damori Flournoy is really, really good.
Yeah, Flournoy's pretty good.
I think Mia Woolfolk is really, really good. And then you got Asia Avinger. That's really, really good. That's averaging like 10 points per game. So, but if we're being honest, Brad, this is a game that they should win with the schedule that they got coming up. They play, I think, A&M coming up next Thursday, which should be another win on the schedule before they get into really tough competition where they play LSU, Texas, and South Carolina and Tennessee. But I just kind of wanted to just bring it out about Georgia Amore, man. Like, I don't know if you're listening, Georgia, but we cover you on here, and we love you, man. You are probably one of the best guards in the country. You can do it all. You can
I think she might be the best pure passer in the game in the college women's college.
She can do everything. She can make certain plays look impossible. There was a couple plays in the Florida game, and then there was one, I think, in the game before that. Who was they playing before Florida? Trying to ring a bell. Was it
Vandy? Vandy.
She made a pass that not many people in the country can make as a guard, and she just. I'm telling you, man. They're moving up in bracketology. They're moving up on the board ranking wise.
Bracketology.
I'm telling you, top three. There's a good chance they can get a top 3 seed if they keep playing at this level right now. And I think they're going to continue to play at that level because Kenny Brooks is going to have them ready to go every single night.
Absolutely. I'm, of course, definitely picking Kentucky in this game. I actually think it should be a 15 or 20-point win, to be honest, on the road. I really do. So, all right, John, we're going to get to our final buzzer, and I'll kind of give you the floor, let you start it, and then I'll kind of chime in. But we're going to get to our final buzzer.
The final buzzer tonight, I wrote an article on today. If most don't know, Dick Vitale has been out with cancer. What is it, Brad, for a couple of years?
Maybe he hasn't done anything for over 2 years now.
I think it's the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
He will be on the play-by-play with Dave O'Brien for the Duke Wake Forest game next weekend, January 25th.
Next Saturday.
Which is, he got a good, clean bill of health from his doctor. I think, but was it back in June, he had a cancerous lymph node and he had to have surgery. He revealed, I think, later on, early December, that he was once again cancer-free. And then the thing came early where he could announce again. And I say that to say this. I know a lot of people don't like the guy. I know sometimes people question his announcing. They don't like the loudness. But for a man at his age to fight and have all those radiations and surgeries and so much go against him, for him to come back and call college basketball shows me what kind of person he is, Brett, as a whole. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be thrilling for a lot of fans, but at the same time, it's going to be a relief to know that he's back calling a game that he loves. And for me, that's enough.
I don't know if you guys caught it, but he put out a photo when the doctor told him that he was going to be able to call games again. This has been about a week ago or 10 days ago, about a week ago, something like that. There was a photo of him just bawling, crying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For me, guys, I don't know if there's ever been a guy that's had more passion about basketball.
He has a lot of passion, Brett.
That's what gets me. And he's 85 years old, or 84, 85, somewhere around there. He was 82 when he was diagnosed the first time. I'm pretty sure. He's 80, he was 82, so he's either 84, 85 years old. I haven't looked it up to know exactly as far as when his birthdays are and all that good stuff. I don't really know.
And here's another thing too, Brad, that I kind of want to put in that many people don't know is that his last called game was when he called the UConn San Diego State game, I think, in 2023, the national championship. He's called over 1,000 games. He's played a major role in the Jimmy V. Fund Foundation for Cancer Research. That was one of his best friends.
Yeah,
him and Jimmy V was really close. He's
Wireman
made a name for
is on here. I just want to say, Wireman, I met Dickie V one time. It's when I was a kid. Went to a game at Rupp with my dad. I was about 11 or 12 years old. It was in the 85, 86 season, somewhere in that range. I was about 11 or 12 years old. We were playing Auburn, and they had Chuck Persons. It was when Chuck Persons was playing at Auburn. It was a year or two after Charles Barkley. And I'm going to tell you, guys, my dad was with a group of friends. There was about three older guys, okay? At the time, I'll tell you a quick story. At the time, we got there early, and my dad was at the Hyatt bar, okay, with his buddies. Here I am, an 11-year-old kid. I was pretty sure I was 11 at the time. I was an 11-year-old kid, and I was standing there with nothing, basically, while my dad talked with his buddies and drank a beer, and we were standing there at the bar, okay? This was about an hour before the game, hour before tip, something like that. And through one of the doors, out walked the broadcast crew that was heading down to Rupp from the Hyatt. Elevator comes out. Here comes Dick Vitale. All right. And a line opens up right in front of me. It opens up right in front of me from the elevator, and they start to walk out. And Dickie V sees me. All right. I'm an 11-year-old kid. I'm standing in a bar. And Dickie V actually comes up to me and buys me a Coke. True story. I was sitting there with nothing to drink, and he looked at my dad and said, "Do you mind if I buy your son a Coke?" And Dad said, "No, you can." And this was, like I said, in the mid '80s, and we went to an Auburn game, and he sat down beside me, and we talked for like 3 minutes, and then he went to the game, and he bought me a Coke. It's a true story. Wireman. I went to a game at South Carolina in 2015. Vitale was there 2 hours before the game, handing out flyers for the Jimmy V Foundation, person by person, talking to fans, supporting cancer research. Nicest guy I ever met.
And I say that to say this, to finish up our buzzer. You know, I brought out a point in the article today. I can't remember what it all said because there was so much stuff I kind of brought up. But I had mentioned a part in there about the phrases that he brings, the diaper dandy, the get a TO, get a timeout, stuff like that. But
awesome baby with a capital A.
It's not so much the phrases that are more memorable. It's the unmistakable voice of Dick Vitale that makes him truly
passion. Special. That's what everybody misses.
It's the passion that he has for college basketball. I want to read this that he talked about after being able to turn the booth. He said, "I'm absolutely ecstatic, and I can't believe this is happening after going through 5 major vocal cord surgeries, 65 radiation treatments, and chemotherapy for 6 months. It's been a very tough journey, but all of my prayers and messages from the beautiful fans have inspired me." His big shot calls, I'm going to be honest with you. There was a game, I'm trying to remember back. It was early 2000s. I think was it Florida? The time when Billy Donovan brought Florida to Rupp as number 1 team. Remember, Kentucky beat them with Bogans and those guys. I didn't have a story, but I was near Dickie V. I was sitting probably 11, 12 rows back. And the entire time that we was there before the game, he was going through the fans and just hugging kids, hugging families. Like, you can hate his voice. You can dislike whatever he does. But for him to have that kind of passion about a game that he loves.
Let me just tell you this about hating his voice. If you're the type of person, this man has had vocal cord 5 surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
For many months at a time, he's not even been able to talk at all, period, for the last 3 years. To be as old as he is and to fight this, to still have a voice, to have the passion to get back to this game is remarkable.
Yep.
It's remarkable.
What makes me kind of driven about it, Brad, is his connection to the fans. I don't either, Wyman. There's so many people that say, "Well, I don't like his voice. I don't."
It's a miracle he even has a voice.
And he screams and he hollers but at the same time, that's his passion. and what he loves for college basketball.
I'll be honest with you guys. I think his voice is going to sound a little scruffy and a little different next
at first. Yes, it's going to be a little different. Yes, it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to be what we remember and what we have always heard him do. I think it's going to be now. His passion's still going to be there, but his voice he's went through a lot, and I don't know that it's going to be exactly what we have always known it to be.
What's really going to be touching for me as we kind of break off here is when he finally sits down and they flag the TV towards him when they come on the screen. It's going to be a very, very special moment. Everybody's going to be catching it. So
100%, I'm going to be watching.
So, thank you, Wireman, for coming in at the last minute. We've had a lot of people come through here. Kentucky needs to get a big win tomorrow. That's all I can say, Brett. Go Cats.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Kentucky does need a big win tomorrow.
And if you like coffee, you'll be able to do it an extra hour in the morning. It's at 12 this game. It's not 11 like the Florida game. So it's a 12 o'clock game. So get up, get you some breakfast. And
all right, guys, one last thing. I do have one more surprise. So I am in talks with Stadium Rant for us to kind of have a joint effort, and we are planning on doing a live show, a live streaming show with me, John, and one or two others with Stadium Rant, and doing a live streaming show during the national championship game on Monday night. Meaning that we will be on, we will be discussing what's going on with the game. We will be talking about the game. We will be talking about plays. We'll be talking about officiating and calls that are going on and everything, and just kind of breaking down the game and doing a live stream about the game on Monday night on the national championship game. This will be aired here at College SportsCast and most likely Stadium Rant. We're going to be doing a joint effort and doing this together. And I know we're going to have one or two more guys with us, but kind of excited about that.
And I was going to kind of say it'll be a good thing because we're supposed to get a lot more snow this weekend. So I'll be snowed in, getting to sit back and watch college football Monday night. So there won't be nowhere to go. So it'll be fun.
He said he was at a high school game with about 187 whistles.
Hey, Brad, are you ready for winter to be over with?
It sounds like a Kentucky game. 187 whistles.
Are you ready for winter to be over with, Brad?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
But if you can join us Monday night, we're planning on having a live stream during the game and just kind of talking about everything that's going on. Maybe we'll see Jeremiah Smith have a great game.
I got a question.
Riley Leonard.
Alandis Poole wasn't calling that game, was he? Oh, goodness. I had to put that in there.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. I don't even want to mention that guy's name.
No, I don't either.
He needs jailed. He's definitely putting money.
There's something not a myth. There's something
He's definitely putting money on games. I guarantee it. I'd almost guarantee it.
Ha, Don Daly, he said. That was pretty good. Oh, goodness. That was a good laugh to end our show on.
All right, guys. We're going to wrap this up. This has been College SportsCast Game Day Pick'em. We are doing this with Stadium Rant now, and we appreciate them. So just want to throw that out. Y'all have a good night.